Thanks so much for coming today. My name is Heather and we're going to be learning a bit about skincare, cleansing, how we can take care of our skin from the inside out. So a little bit about today. We're going to do some introductions. We're going to talk a little bit about what cleansing is. We're going to talk about what's bad for your skin, what's good for your skin, and then we're going to also go over a recipe. And then we're going to talk about a couple Atomy products that are really great to cleanse the skin from the outside. So before we get much further, I know we've done some introductions, but I'm going to have some more introductions. So what I would like you to do, if it's all right, if you could give us your name, just your first name's fine, and then what interests you about health, and then something that you've done this year that you're proud of.
Okay. My name is Janae, and I'm interested in health because I believe that, eating right pays dividends, and so you're not relying necessarily on chemicals to produce the results that you're looking for, and plus it's more sustainable to just eat the right foods and use more natural products than stuff heavily filled with chemicals and everything like that. And then something that I'm proud of that I've done within the last year is I got promoted in my job. So,
Nice. Yeah. Big promotion or?
Yes, significant increase.
Nice. And is that why you moved to the Denver area?
Yeah, part of the reason, yeah.
Very nice. Well, congratulations.
Thank you.
So we're going to talk a little bit about what we mean by cleanse. So when we think on about the outside of our skin, it's a lot easier to think of cleansing as soap or products that wash our hair or whatever else. So that one's a little bit easier. When we talk about cleansing from the inside, it's a little bit different. So cleansing from the inside, really we're talking a lot about cellular division and what happens every time a cell divides. So every time your cell divides, there's a potential for something to go wrong or for you to have a healthy cell. And the goal is to have a healthy cell each time. That way, over time, we have a healthier body, we look younger, our skin is smoother, tighter, all of that good stuff. But if our cell divides and we don't have the right nutrients, the right vitamins, perhaps we smoke or drink or whatever the case is, something can damage our cell. And when that happens, we have potential for incorrect toxins to be in the body, and we have just a slew of issues that can happen. We can have wrinkles, various stages of aging, sagging skin, that kind of thing. And along those lines, I want to talk about collagen because I think collagen is really important. So collagen is shown by these pieces here. Now collagen is what holds our skin to be tight and firm. So as we get older, these structures naturally tend to not rebuild as well, and that can lead to wrinkles and sagging skin. So also when we talk about cleansing, I think it's important to talk about the importance of collagen building. So not only do we want to rid our body of toxins, but we want to have healthy cells, and we want to have healthy collagen. Because when we don't, that's when we start to see problems on the outside of our face.
Can I ask you just a quick question?
Yeah.
So, based on my research, there's that after 20 years old, we are slowly, going downhill with the ability to produce, collagen, by ourselves. Is that true?
Definitely. So there are supplements that you can take that have collagen in them, and you can also get them from various food sources. A lot of the supplements that you take for collagen tend to come from sharks, interestingly enough.
Oh.
And there are things that you can help promote the building of the collagen. So you can do vitamin C, so citrus fruits are going to be really good to help rebuild collagen, and just giving your body that chance to build adequately. But yeah, after a certain point, all of our things tend to go down. And muscle is another good example of that. You hit a certain age and you lose muscle every single year.
So taking vitamin C can prevent that, or?
It can slow it.
It slow
it. It can slow it, yeah. So it can help rebuild it, because if you're at a certain age where you should have more collagen and it's written in your DNA and you're giving your body the right tools, it can help rebuild. Whether or not it'll be ever as good as when you're 17. So yeah, cleansing is all about creating the healthier cells, ridding yourself of those toxins, replenishing essential nutrients and vitamins, and then rebuilding, strengthening that collagen. Another part of cleansing that I didn't have on here is supporting your liver, because because your liver is the one that cleanses, right, your blood. And that's why when we drink too much, we don't stay drunk forever. It's because of our liver, because our liver is cleansing it out. So anything that helps our liver stay healthy and work through the toxins that we naturally have in our system is going to be good as well. Has anyone heard of a colon cleanse?
Mm-hmm.
Have you ever done a colon cleanse?
Mm-hmm.
So what are your thoughts on colon cleanses?
They kind of suck. Yeah, they kind of suck, and like the fluids that you have to take to cleanse your colon, they're not always very good. So, but I mean, afterwards, I mean, it's like you have a fresh start, so you don't feel as heavy and whatnot. So, yeah.
I'm glad you brought up those points because there's usually 2 to 3 steps with a colon cleanse.
Mm-hmm.
Another way to get, toxins out of your body. The first step is usually where you're mobilizing toxins. So a lot of times they'll have you take tablets that actually mobilize the toxins so that your liver can start to go through them and then you can sweep them out in your colon. Yeah. And that's the part where a lot of people feel icky and groggy and foggy headed because you're pulling all those toxins out, right? The second step is the flushing, and there tends to be like a heavy fiber involved with that, and that's what actually pulls the toxins out. And they often have components that attach to that icky stuff and pull it out. Pretty interesting. And then the third part, which isn't always included, but I think it's so important if you're going to do a colon cleanse, is the hydration. Because hydration, anytime you're ridding your body of toxins, you're causing your liver to work, you want to give your body a chance to regroup, to re-moisturize, to add that water back in. I don't suggest colon cleanses for anyone that has GI distress, so anyone that has like celiacs or ulcers or Crohn's disease, anything that can irritate the lining. And I know personally from experience because I have celiac, so sometimes I can go a couple months without any issues, but if I get into something and then I was like, oh, I'm going to do a colon cleanse, get everything out of there, well, that fiber can rip and tear and hurt. What a normal person would have it clean, but somebody with digestive issues, it's going to be a problem, yeah. So a colon cleanse is another step that you can do, but we're going to focus more on the food bits. So I'm going to go grab food. I'm excited for this smoothie. So I got all organic good stuff because I'm ridiculous and I think it's important. Although it is a little bit more pricey, but
yeah, I was just at Whole Foods yesterday. I spent $8 and I only had like maybe 10 things.
did you go to like Whole Foods or Vitamin Cottage or?
I went to actual Whole Foods.
Did you?
Yeah.
Vitamin Cottage is really good because they tend to have lower prices, I found.
Mm-hmm.
Not as big of a store,
Yeah.
but I do like them quite a bit, so. Okay, so we're going to talk about some things that are bad for your skin and then we'll get into our smoothie. So some of these I think are, most of us know, like with smoking, there's a couple problems with it when it comes to your beauty. So one of the problems with smoking is that it steals nutrients from your body. It also leaves toxins in your body, tar, all of that icky stuff. And it also causes your liver to work harder because you have to clear out those things. And I don't know if anyone's seen somebody that smokes long term, but they have like ashy colored skin. Mm-hmm. And that's because there's not enough oxygen getting to the skin. And so that's a big problem when you want to have your nice bright skin and you have dull skin. Another one is alcohol. So alcohol contains empty calories, and empty calories, of course, do nothing for us. Your body uses up stores in the process of digesting alcohol. It also dehydrates the body. Hydration is super important for our beauty, our health, all of that good stuff. It also disrupts hormones. It adds stress to the liver, and because the liver is our cleansing organ, we really want to make sure that we're not adding stress to it. It also creates problems with blood flow to the skin again. So again, if we want that nice, beautiful, glowing skin, alcohol is not going to help. The only thing that I would say that could help that has alcohol in it is going to be wine. And a lot of people have heard of red wine being healthy. Have you heard of that, like cardiovascular disease and stuff?
Yeah, I've heard that. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So one of the big reasons is because on the outside of grapes, which is what they make the red part of wine with, is a component called resveratrol. And it's an extremely, extremely potent antioxidant. So I actually have here a version of resveratrol. I would say it's probably one of the best antioxidants to take. It tends to be a little bit pricier, but if you are going to try to help counteract some of the oxidative damage that happens, free radicals, resveratrol is a good way to go. A glass of wine isn't going to hurt by any means, so you can weigh your options there. So then pollutants are also another one. Pollutants can be in the air, they can be in the water, they can really be in a lot of places. Some of these we don't have control over, which again is why we want to give our body as much chance to replenish and take care of itself as possible. Processed foods, this is pretty huge. So it's one of the reasons why I've enjoyed eating so much Korean food lately is because it's not processed and it's a lot more fermented foods. Whereas in America, we have all the really yummy, processed, fried, all of that good stuff, but it's not good for us. So processed foods has chemicals, it has preservatives, dyes, fake flavors. I actually have this wonderful book called The Dorito Effect, which talks all about flavors and how we have changed them in this country. So if you'd like to look at that, please do let me know. But really, I find it interesting because we work so heavily with food science to figure out what the brain likes. And the brain likes fat and it likes sugar. And these are adaptive. These are good for us if, we were like an Inuit tribe and we needed seal blubber to eat or, whatever else, or
So
beer.
seriously, brain loves fat and sugar?
Well, that's what you're programmed to like. And it's adaptive because if you're out in the woods and it's berry season, well, your body is going to crave that. The problem is that now what we've done is not only have we combined all these things, which wouldn't necessarily be combined in nature, but we've upped how much we can tolerate, and we've just made our brains go crazy. And there is a huge addictive process that happens with a lot of the foods we've had.
I think that's what makes it hard for people to transition over to a more healthy lifestyle because you're used to eating processed food and it tastes a certain way, and then you go to eating spinach and you're like, wait, this doesn't taste that good.
Yeah, right.
Exactly right. Yeah, they did this study too on, and it's similar to what you were just saying. They had done a study where they take sugar and they take fat and they combine them and they see how much sugar they can put in before you have a threshold of being like, oh, that's too sweet. And they do the same thing with fat. And what they found is with sugar, there's a threshold, right? We all have had something where we're like, oh, that's too sweet. But with fat, there is no threshold. So your brain just craves it.
Wow.
Mm-hmm. So it's that addictive, and it is so hard to transition over. It's the reason why Doritos taste so good. It's setting off alarms in our brain like, this is amazing. But it makes it difficult because it's full of crap. Processed foods cause inflammation, which can lead ultimately to disease in the future. It produces free radicals, and a lot of processed foods can spike our blood sugar. Another issue is sugar. I don't know why I have sugar caffeine on here because they should be on separate lines, but never mind that. So again, sugar can lead to breakdown of collagen. So that's wrinkles, sagging skin. It can cause age spots. It can cause dull skin. Yeah, all kinds of terrible things.
And what can you take? I mean, because there are a lot of sugar, substitute, but many people say that it's not healthy anymore. So what can you do?
So with the sugar substitutes, I have such a hard time with them. So there's one sugar substitute that I won't name by name, but they actually take a sugar molecule and they add a chlorine molecule on it.
Oh.
So you get that sweet taste. In fact, your body recognizes it as being sweeter, but when it gets into your digestive system, your body doesn't recognize it, so it flushes it out, which is why it's non-calorie, whatever. Can cause digestive upset, has been linked to some cancers and things like that. So not good. They have a sweetener called stevia, which comes from a plant. I have not personally used it. From what I've heard, it's sweeter than normal sugars. I don't see, in general, a huge problem with it, but if you're doing something like baking, usually the sugar has a lot to do with the volume and how everything's processed. So you'd have to look into diabetic baking and stuff, and they would talk about the substitutions. Honey is a good way to go if you find natural honey. And I would say being in Colorado, we want our Colorado honey. Most honeys are gonna be corn syrup.
Oh,
Yeah.
Really?
And so that's why it's really important to find natural ones.
What about, what's it called, agave nectar?
Agave nectar? Yeah, so agave nectar is, I believe, a little bit sweeter than regular sugar. It still can spike your blood glucose, and it still is sugar. So from what I can see and from what I've heard is that mixed reviews. If you're using it like a honey occasionally to sweeten tea, you're going to get benefits from it because it does have nutrition in it, but it is still a sweetener. So you kind of got to weigh your
how about sugar from food? I mean, fruits.
fruits. So that's an excellent question. So sugars from fruits are going to be much better. They're going to be easier for you to digest. You get all of the fiber, all of the added, bioflavonoids and all the extra nutrients from the fruit, plus the vitamins. So overall, I would say if you're going to have something sugary, if it's between, an apple or, berries and a candy bar, absolutely do the fruit because you're going to get a lot of good stuff in there. I know there are some diets that say don't do sugar, and if you're trying to lose weight, maybe you want to stay away from the really high sugary fruits. But overall, you're going to get a lot of benefit from them. So I think it's important to continue to have them. That's my personal opinion.
I love fruit.
They're wonderful. Also, you can't burn fat if you have sugar.
Oh.
So because sugar can cause so much damage in your body, which is again why we have insulin, is to get it out of our bloodstream. I mean, you need a balance of, but too much sugar in your bloodstream is bad. Your body will use sugar as an energy source first.
What about carbohydrates?
Carbohydrates are a form of sugar. So sugar is a carbohydrate. Not all carbohydrates are simple sugar, if that makes sense. So you can have the variation. They do ultimately break down into about the same components. But again, if you're going to have table sugar or you're going to have like a slice of whole wheat bread, you're going to get beneficial nutrients from it. The white sugar, you're just getting calories that do nothing for you. So, caffeine. I didn't want to put this one on here because I love caffeine. And I have it all the time. But I think it's important. So caffeine increases your cortisol levels, which is your stress hormone in your body. And when this happens, it causes you to not sleep as well, which is not good for your body. Caffeine can also lead to wrinkles, belly fat, all of those kind of things because of how it disrupts your hormones. So if you like caffeine, limit yourself. I wish I could say cut it out completely, but I love caffeine so much, so I feel a little hypocritical saying that. But again, moderation. So a couple other things that I don't have on here. Dairy. Conventional dairy is full of antibiotics and hormones. It can lead to increased oil production on your face, skin problems, acne, blemishes, that kind of thing.
I was just about to ask about that because I've been doing a lot of research on like healthy food, and people are saying if you want like good skin, mix dairy. So I wanted to know if that was just kind of like a split thing where some people agree with, some people don't. Some people say if you get your dairy from like an organic source, then it's better versus just getting from standard grocery aisle or whatever. I didn't know how valid that was.
I know with organic milks, you're gonna have less, of the bad stuff, so less added hormones and antibiotics and stuff. But that doesn't. It may still affect your oil production in your skin. It's also one of those main allergies that it can create digestive upset. And anytime you have digestive upset, you're not absorbing things quite as much. Interestingly enough, there's some debate about pasteurization and homogenization with the milk, right? Because we don't get raw milk generally in this country anymore, unfortunately. It's unfortunate, I think. And one of the reasons was there was a dairy farm that was located, I believe it was in Chicago, and it was next to a bunch of industrialized buildings, and there was a lake right there, and the milk was coming out blue. And so they added chemicals to it to make it white. Well, what happened was a bunch of little kids ate it, they got really sick, and the government said, well, we need to do something about that. And that's why they started pasteurizing. So I struggle with that because I feel that raw milk has a lot of benefits if it comes from a safe, reliable source. But when you have large groups of people chemical, large productions, you know, it's a safety concern. I wish that we could have more opportunity to have raw milk in this country, I really do. Another one is fried foods, and that's because the oil that you fry foods in order for it to fry the food, it has to be able to have a very, very high temperature in it. And because of that, these fats are just not good for you. It can lead to inflammation, which can lead to wrinkles, it can lead to age spots. Oftentimes they have trans fats in them. Trans fats have been associated with obesity, high cholesterol, inflammation, all of those things. So again, if you can stick to a natural fat, so olive oil is going to be great because it's anti-inflammatory. Not good to cook in because it burns at low temperatures, but coconut oil can withstand higher temperatures. Now as far as frying foods, I'm not quite sure of that because I haven't fried anything, but to use it to cook a steak, which I often do, is really good because it can withstand those higher temperatures before it causes a carcinogenic, which is a cancer-causing form. Okay, so it's time for my volunteer.